Hi, welcome to the Commercial Gas Engineer channel. This is a continuation of my first sites as a commercial gas engineer. So we're going back into 2019, around about April, and this is some pipework being changed. You can see the recip saw there. Don't be surprised when you think that the pipework is corroded, that it's the end of the day. Sometimes it isn't. You can get your emery cloth out and start cleaning up pipe to a certain degree. I've seen them made good as new. So here's the new pipe work. It's quite a tight space for it to be done, but it was completed. The press gun sometimes can struggle to get in, or even a recip saw. You're not going to be able to get a grinder in here. That's why ideally you want a recip saw, and you also want a mini press gun or flexible press gun to get into some of these situations. Okay, onto this site now, where I had some trouble with hot water at a building. They were getting sensors that were going off in the office because when the temperatures in this particular hotel were falling, so the temperature of the hot water, they had an alarm. So as soon as the temperature would drop below, say for instance 40 Celsius, there was an alarm that would go off in the office. So that would give them some time to call out an engineer. So by the time the engineer had come, they hadn't completely lost their services. I think that was a good thing for them to have. Many buildings don't do this. They wait until there's a total loss of hot water. So when the water is at like 20 to 30 Celsius, that's when they're calling you. That's a bit too late. But if they have alarms, if they have sensors where as soon as the water drops below 50 Celsius, for instance, and it's on its way down, they know that a problem has happened and they can go and check. And if they can't fix it quickly, they can call out an engineer. I think that is a really good system to have. So this is a look inside at the force draft burner. Commodore boiler for pulsated burner. So this is the boiler that it was connected to, what the force draft burner was connected to. Here's the boiler, another angle. And these are the plates that the boiler was connected to. This is the temperature. If I recall dropping the temperature on the boilers, they were allowing the plates to overheat and then it was tripping on the panel. Here is a picture of a boiler that had to be shut down. You can see the hole in the flue. And then here I am carrying out some servicing on some burners in a basement plant room. I remember that they were in quite a state. Hopefully these have been overhauled by now. In this picture here, I was just carrying out some work on some flues, replacing the flue nearest to me. Here it is from the distance. So the nearest flue here needed to be replaced. And that was done. And some weatherproofing took place afterwards as well. In this particular job, I recall being sent here. I remember it was roasting in this plant room. I believe that the pipework was replaced and I had to get lagging. And this was my attempt at lagging. No professional lagger, but I had a go. Lagging is an art. I know for sure I was itching afterwards from the fiberglass. And I also recall not realizing how much lagging cost. It was very expensive. On this side, it looked like I was here to change the fan and pump on one of these A-tag boilers. Here's a closer look. Have you worked on any of these A-tags before? What do you think of these cute microfills? They're so tiny. For some reason, people like them for aesthetic purposes. I don't think that they're able to do much. Here I was just repairing a leak in a roof space, cleaning out a burner on a Hamworthy, the outside to wash it down. And I looked down in this one. This was more than likely struggling to ignite. So I was giving it a good clean. Took out the flue to clean through as well. The whole unit in pieces, trying to get it working. So look at the condition inside. Then off to another site where had some underfloor pipework leaking and was trying to get a replacement for the fittings on site. Even trying to make up our own connection. Here's the pipework under the floor that was leaking. It's not easy to get the right fittings for every type of underfloor pipework. Underfloor heating is sometimes a specialized area where people just focus on that. So when you're coming across a job with underfloor heating, the manufacturer can't always find the right fittings or pipework for you there and then on the spot. So I got some form of connection in and got it down and tested, and it was no longer leaking. Look at this burner. This is one of these modular boilers. An ideal, it was cracked. Can you see the crack in here? I was doing some work on changing the pump on a cold water booster set, replacing those pumps. I was back at this site. You may have seen me here before. and I was cleaning out the gas-fired water heater. So I had my wet vac hose right down the burner and just cleaning out any residue in there and so on. Here we have it, just taking the flue apart. Sometimes it's hard to get these back together again and to get a good seal, but it has to be done. So here it is, I look inside. And then in the same plant room, there were some Hamworthy Millborns. You can see they've got twin burners. And here you have a brake tank by the booster sets I was replacing. The brake tank's right beside them. And pt7 commercials. Renai boilers. Have you installed these before? There's so many different boilers and pumps and so on out there. It's hard to even see all of them, all the ones that have been made. Everybody has a go and they're making a boiler. Now, this particular boiler gave me some trouble. I recall a few people were being sent to it and couldn't get it to light. And I couldn't get it to light either. So went inside and inspected the burner, gave it a wash through, and it was in quite a state. And still, despite cleaning it through, cleaning probes, changing parts, this one got the better of me. There's the flue. And look at the condition inside. Caked up. Cleaned this out to the best of my ability and still no joy. Look at the state of the heat exchanger. Didn't think these could get so bad. Lack of proper servicing. So hoovered it out as much as possible. Looking at the manufacturer's instructions. So it was an idle IMAX, but there's an interesting push fit manifold that I found in a loft space with 4 pipes coming out of one and changing a pump here, the N50 Wheelo pump. And this is what was in situ. I recall changing this pump on my own, which wasn't quite fair. Probably should have refused, but I changed it on my own. So this is the pump out. And this is the new pump in. And this is why you shouldn't change pumps on your own, because whilst I was changing the pump where it was, I ended up damaging the freeway valve underneath. So it was an SB valve, ESBE valve underneath that got damaged in the process. There it is. This is a pump on the floor. And then this is a kitchen where they had a gas leak. And why did they have a gas leak? Does it seem obvious? So they bent this pipe. So when they were pulling out the cookers to clean behind them, as they do, which is good that they clean behind because not everybody cleans kitchens well. So they did, and they damaged the pipe. So fair play for them cleaning, but unfortunately they bent the gas pipe. But I replaced it and got their gas supply back on for their kitchen.